As I look through my closet, I find myself wanting more layering pieces. Something simple but effective in elevating a look. And since I already have the height of one, I settled on something hobbity. I want to make some dirndls. Well, dirndl corsages, the bodice part. I want some German clothes in my wardrobe because, shocker, the white American Midwesterner has German heritage. I've been trying to connect with my family and family history a lot more, and it seemed natural to use my sewing skills to expand my horizons and learn about German clothing. Now, you can probably tell from the fabric choices in front of me that these are not going to be traditional corsages by any means. I am, however, using a dirndl pattern from German Patternmaker. This is Kachi. I'll have her YouTube and Etsy pattern linked below for you to check out for yourself. And while I work on tracing and cutting, let's dive into where dirndl comes from. The Pink Lookbook has an amazing video that goes really deeply into the history of this kind of dress that you should totally check out if you're at all curious. But from my research, dirndl is the modern evolution of Tracht, or traditional country clothing worn by people from Germany, Austria, and Bavaria. It was mainly seen as working people's clothes until around 1895, when city dwellers would come vacation in the country and take that romanticization of country life back with them into the city. It feels like a similar romanticization as cottagecore in a modern context, loving the aesthetic but not actually wanting to live out that lifestyle or caring for and supporting the people that really live that life. Along with that romanticizing of country life is romanticizing an older Germany that never really existed. Tracht slowly became used and weaponized by nationalists as a political indicator and propaganda weapon, especially in the 1930s and 40s. All the while, Jewish designers and sewists were the ones who largely popularized and expanded the reach of dirndl as a fashion item. It feels muddy coming into the history of the dirndl at a time like this. I don't want to be pushing or theoretically endorsing fascist ideals. Obviously, I would hope not. But the 1940s aren't where the history of the dirndl ends. These days it's used for festive wear on special holidays and events, or even workwear. I like to think of that as a kind of homecoming for the dirndl in a way. It's returning to a symbol of working class people, a piece with a wrought history, but continuously working towards moving forwards and finding its new place in the future. But now I find myself in a tenuous position, acting like I really know the history of this dress when I've only done a couple Google searches and read only a handful of articles. And honestly, I don't know if I should be making this. Am I just cosplaying my German heritage? Is this cultural appropriation? I don't have living relatives that identify very strongly with their German heritage anymore. I don't know the language, I haven't studied there or lived in the culture. It almost feels like taking something that isn't meant to be mine. Even though, in a way, it is. I think. And yeah, boo-hoo, white girl feels disconnected from her culture, so sad. But I can't imagine I'm the only person who's ever felt this way about trying to reconnect to their heritage. So what do I do with this? Most importantly, stay open, I think. I don't know this garment or this culture inside and out, even if I do know what the seams look like on the inside. The important thing is wanting to connect and maintaining individuality. There are so many different kinds of Tracht, just like there are so many different kinds of Germans and Americans and people. Of the things I've learned in this process, the flattening of Tracht and dirndls and their history and what it means is where the worst kinds of abuses of it come from. So I'm really glad that I chose a pattern from a specifically German designer, and I'm really glad I made that stupid punk Guy Fieri version. I've loved getting to know the interesting push and pull with the dirndl's place in fashion. There's this history of it being used as a political weapon to push for nationalist and supremacist ideals, but it's also the clothes of working class people, of marginalized groups that created clothes that were eventually commissioned by royalty. And I think there's space for both of those realities to exist.